Chapter 4 of R.L. Stine's Revenge of the Living Dummy. Whoa! A sharp pain shot through my head. I pressed my hands against my throbbing temple, trying to push the pain away. "Be careful with that thing," Dad scolded Ethan. "It wasn't my fault," Ethan cried, backing away from me. "Mr. Bad Boy did it." Here we go again, I thought. Ethan moved the dummy's mouth up and down. "I'm a bad boy," the dummy said in a shrill baby voice. Mom turned and hurried to the fridge. "We better put some ice on that, Britt," she said. "You're going to have a bump." I glared at Ethan. Was it an accident? "Sometimes Mr. Bad Boy doesn't know his own strength," Ethan said. "Ethan, how about saying you're sorry?" said Dad. "Mr. Bad Boy is very sorry." I pushed past him and headed for the door. "Forget the ice," I said, rubbing my forehead. "I'm going over to Molly's." Mom hurried after me. She stopped me in the front hall. "Take Ethan with you," she said in a whisper. "Mom, please, no," I said. Mom put both hands on my shoulders, narrowed her eyes at me through her glasses. "Brittany, he just got here. Don't be rude. Remember what I said about getting off to a good start?" "But he's already given me a bruise," I cried. But I could see she meant business. I sighed. Okay. I saw Ethan near the kitchen door, and I called to him. "Want to come over to Molly's?" "Excellent," Ethan replied. "I'll bring Mr. Bad Boy." Thrills, I thought. We stepped out into the cool, windy evening. The sun had started to dip behind the trees, sending long shadows across the grass. Molly lives 3 houses down on the other side of the street. A short walk, but Ethan kept dancing around me, sticking his foot out, trying to trip me. "Give me a break," I pleaded. He just giggled in reply. He has a phony hyena giggle that would drive anyone crazy. I rang the bell, and a few seconds later, Molly came to the door. She was wearing faded jeans, a yellow t-shirt with the words "Mumba Rules" in red across the front. Her dad always brings her t-shirts from the weird places he visits. Don't ask me where on earth Mumba is. She let out a groan when she saw Ethan. "Shake hands with Mr. Bad Boy," Ethan told her. He stuck out the dummy's wooden hand. "Mr. Bad Boy, this is Molly, Brittany's geeky friend." "Nice." Molly frowned at the dummy and said, "He's almost as ugly as you are, Ethan." "Good one." I laughed and slapped her a high five. "I'm a bad boy," said the dummy. "Perfect," Molly muttered. She led us down the hall to her room. Dad just got back this morning from one of his crazy trips. He says Mumba is an island. He's totally pumped. I guess he found some strange dolls there. Professor Malloy is kind of famous. He works for museums. He says he's a folklore expert. He travels all over the world and brings back ugly, evil-looking dolls and ancient toys and voodoo stuff and skulls and things. He keeps some of it on display up in the attic. He calls it his Museum of the Weird. He always wants to show it off, but Molly and I don't like to go up there. Totally creeps us out. Ethan put his mouth to my ear and burped really loud. I jerked away from him. "Ethan, that's not funny." He giggled. "It's a riot." We turned the corner to Molly's room and bumped into Mr. Malloy. He's big and tall, with a big belly that hangs over his pants. He always wears baggy khakis that are all wrinkled and stained and sloppy white shirts. His dark brown hair is long and wild. He has a great smile, a big booming laugh that shakes his belly, and deep blue eyes that just stare. They don't blink when you talk to him. He likes to sing in a funny deep voice, and he's always trying to scare Molly and me with his weird stories. My dad calls him Wild Man Malloy. He said hi to me and then turned his gaze on Ethan. "I remember you," he said, "Brittany's cousin. And what do we have here?" He lifted Mr. Bad Boy off Ethan's shoulder and held the dummy up to study it. Interesting. Interesting. Mr. Malloy examined the wooden head carefully. He ran his finger over the chipped bottom lip, and then he reached a hand beneath Mr. Bad Boy's shirt and made the mouth snap up and down. "Interesting dummy," he said. "Ethan, where did this guy come from?" Ethan shrugged. "My dad found him. I don't know where. I named him Mr. Bad Boy because he's a really bad dude." Mr. Malloy chuckled. "Interesting." He rubbed his hand over the dummy's painted brown hair. "Why does this look so familiar? I could swear I've seen this dummy somewhere before." He handed Mr. Bad Boy back to Ethan. "I have some books on ventriloquism. Maybe you'd like to borrow one." "I don't have to talk for him," Miss Ethan said. "Mr. Bad Boy talks for himself." Molly and I looked at each other. We rolled our eyes. "Yeah, sure," I muttered. "Come upstairs," Mr. Malloy said. "I've got something very interesting to show you guys. Something I just brought back from Mumba." "Maybe later, Dad," Molly said. "We don't really want—" Mr. Malloy tugged Molly toward the stairs. "Come on up to the attic. You won't be sorry," he said with a wide, devilish grin. "You want to stare into the face of pure evil, don't you?"